The other day, allegedly a trailer leak, the upcoming Avengers Doomsday trailer leaked. Of course, we're going to be getting it officially in theaters in front of Avatar on Thursday night. But a version of it leaked online. And, you know, we might as well put up a little bit of a spoiler. I feel stupid putting up a spoiler warning for a trailer. It seems ridiculous. It's a commercial, guys. We should be able to talk about it completely opening. Anyway, but we'll put this up there for now anyway, because we're talking about a trailer. But that said, and with a spoiler warning being given, you know, it basically was a motorcycle pulls up to a house, guy walks into the house. You then realize the guy walking into the house is Steve Rogers, holding the Captain America suit, putting it away, and then he's holding a baby, right? That's the big whoa moment. It said there's a baby. So there are two questions that need to be asked. One is it legit? And then two is, if legit,
is it never good?
If it is, are you going to say is it too legit to quit?
Yes.
But
then I thought you were about to start. That. I thought you were going to start talking, and then I'd be talking over you. So I was like, timing's off.
Too legit to quit. So is it legit? And then secondly, if it is legit, what do we think about it? Now I'm going to say this. It certainly looks legit. It is consistent with some whispers we've heard months ago about it. So it's perfectly consistent with things we had heard about before. It certainly looks legit. The biggest holdup for me about 100% buying into the legitimacy of it is this. I know for a fact the runtime of this trailer. And this thing we saw did not nearly match the runtime of that trailer. So, I don't know. Was what was leaked only a part of what's going to be the fuller thing? That's totally possible. So we'll leave that for now. Again, the only reason I doubt the validity is simply because I know what the runtime is, and that wasn't the runtime, like even close to it. But maybe there's more to it, and so there's that. Okay, so that's fine. So let's say for a second here, that it is indeed legit, as it, on many ways, it does appear to be. What do we think about it? I'm underwhelmed. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm underwhelmed. And I'm a little bit disappointed. Now, on the one hand, the joygasm is that you guys know, while my all-time favorite comic book character is indeed Magneto, my favorite MCU character is Steve Rogers. 100% he's my favorite character in the MCU. I think him and Tony represented the heart and soul of the MCU. And what did I tell you years ago? And you all said I was stupid for thinking it. After Endgame, I said, make no mistake, both Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans will be back. It may not be into this year. It may not be next year, but eventually they will both be back. No, John, you didn't hear him in an interview. He said, that's it. He's putting the thing away. Oh, that's fine. They're both back. Said it. Here we are. Now, super excited to see Chris Evans on screen. Super excited that he's going to be back. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Remember that one report came out that said, this is going to be a very Steve Rogers heavy movie, Doomsday. And so how big, we don't know, but I love that. I think it's important that as they try to reestablish Marvel and get its footing back and get the ship steered in the right direction again, that at least temporarily, you got to bring back Robert Downey Jr. You got to bring back Chris Evans. You have to. They are the faces of the MCU. They are the heart and soul of the MCU. And if you want to move on, you got to first right the ship, and I think getting them there to right the ship first so then you can move on later on is very important. But John, you may be wondering to yourself, if all that is true and you're so excited to see him back, why would you say you're kind of let down by this? I'll tell you why. Because, Rob, if I'm sitting in Avatar and we didn't know that Avengers Doomsday was coming and this trailer dropped, oh my God, I'd be losing my mind. But they've already announced the movie. They literally, remember 2 years ago? A little thing called Comic-Con? The Russo brothers, Kevin Feige out on stage, ladies and gentlemen, Robert Downey Jr., and they walk out Robert Downey Jr., and they made a big show and a spectacle. I mean, they announced the movie. We know it's coming. And while the movie is still a year away, and I have been saying emphatically, you got to limit in scope what the trailer is because the movie's still a full year away, but you never get a second chance to make a first impression. To be all revealing. I didn't need this trailer to even have a single lick of dialogue in it. But I think it needed to be something that made a bigger impression. As they're trying to recalibrate the general public's feelings about the MCU overall, as the MCU has been pretty hit and miss lately, as you trying to start the campaign of getting people excited for this thing, of it being the first kind of little taste, little look, I just feel like it needed to be something more than Steve gets off a motorcycle, walks into a house and holding a baby, that's going to be key. Because if he's holding a baby there, that means one of the characters we've always known in the MCU is actually Steve Rogers' kid.
Maybe.
Get Maury Povich on the case.
What I don't know. What if it's Fricky Frack? Peggy's niece.
Oh,
well, we know the character, but the character's born in the 40s.
Boy, that would be weird. Because
I know.
Sharon Carter.
Sharon Carter.
But the baby would be born in the 40s. So the MCU is in 2026.
So you're talking about somebody who's now in their 60s. But again, whatever, or 60s, 70s, 80s. But
somebody like
it's Hank Pym,
Professor X.
Professor X is.
I mean,
Steve
he
Rogers'
does have
son.
He does have super soldier serum,
and he does
in
have
him.
an English accent that he picks up off his mom.
Man.
I mean, that would be pretty dope, to be honest.
So anyway, I'm just saying that I think while I love Steve and I love Chris, and I thought it was one of the most important things is to bring Chris Evans back. If you really want to move on from the old era of the MCU, you have to have the heart and soul of the old era of the MCU there to right the ship, then move on. So I'm excited about that. I'm thrilled about that. But I'm just being honest, Rob. I say this as a Marvel fan. I'm a little underwhelmed from this. I thought it should have been a little bit more. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this episode, PrizePicks. Honestly, this is the best time of year for sports. We've got hockey, basketball's heating up, football pushing towards the playoffs, and big games happening every single night. And while we can sit around and argue about which team's going to win, there's one place where it just feels good to be right, and that's PrizePicks. What I love most about PrizePicks is just how simple it is. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections. Build your lineup, and that's it. No drafts, no season-long commitments. Just jump in whenever you want. And I have been having a blast making lineups while watching games, and it honestly makes every matchup way more fun to follow. One of the coolest things about it is that they've just added early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you may have the option to cash out before the game even finishes. And I also love how flexible it is. Whether you're going for safer, flex play, or bigger power plays, PrizePicks makes everything super clear with their payout multipliers. So here's what you do. Download the PrizePicks app today and use the code Campea to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Campea to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. But anyway, Rob, the 2 questions to you. The legitimacy of it, which, I mean, a lot of signs point to it being legit. And if we are assuming it is legit, how did you feel about it?
Well, I was talking to you last week. I watched Colton over at Screen Crush's video. It's like a 25-minute video about how Doomsday is going to be a direct sequel to Endgame. And he lays out this really convincing, very well-researched with examples of why this is the case. And we've been talking about Steve Rogers coming back. And I have to say, dude, I did watch this bootleg thing yesterday. And I just, I'm sitting in bed with my morning coffee, and I'm watching this horrible version of what the guy used AI to recreate or whatever. And I'm watching this, and by the time they cut to the shot where Steve Rogers is walking up the steps, and when you see his face and the camera pulls around, it looked like in this AI version there was an extra cut, but it comes around and you see the baby. I'm not going to lie. I had tears streaming down my face, only because I love Infinity War and Endgame, and I've been a comic book reader my whole life, that to see Steve Rogers come back after 6 years, and I've watched Infinity War and Endgame probably more times than is healthy to admit. So for me, it was like watching, I was like, oh my God. Like literally, and it was one of those things where I didn't expect to have any emotional reaction. Literally, I just teared up. Like literally teared up. Now, I don't think this is I think this is a teaser, and I think their gimmick is I think they're going to have 3 of these like individual scenes, and they're going to deliver a trailer in the end, because that's what I think they're doing.
Which again would be consistent with the fact that we know that there are going to be 4 trailers.
Yeah.
Perhaps the first 3 are going to be character focused.
I think they're going to be
Steve, Thor,
Yeah.
Doom.
Yeah.
And then a trailer.
Yeah, that's what I think they're doing. But I mean, you know, like you said, Avatar's gonna have its biggest. I understand why they're doing it. I can imagine. You know, we heard they were doing like 30 versions of trailers, and they're like, but we want to have this scene and we want to have this scene, and this is probably the compromise that they found out. They figured out what to do. But for me personally, and it's also because I've watched Endgame twice in the last week after watching Colton's video. So I've gone back and just watched certain scenes. So I was the guy to give this to yesterday morning with my morning coffee. And I was like, oh my God. And not because it was revelatory, but it was confirmation. It was confirmation of where my head had been at. Like, because Steve Rogers isn't just in this movie. He's a main character. And we were speculating he was not on Chair Watch. And if Steve Rogers wasn't on Chair Watch and he's a main character, who else?
Well, remember, there had been a lot of speculation that there was literally going to be a version of Chair Watch 2.
Right.
Which has to be done differently than Chair Watch because that was an abomination. But
yeah, we were still talking about it. It was a hoot.
We're talking about
how bad
awful it was.
Yeah.
I just think that it wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure we're going to get a Doom. They've got to have a Doom one. They got to introduce Doom.
I think, okay, if it is, okay, assuming that it's all legit and everything, let's say the pattern is now going to be, okay, character, traditional theatrical trailer. Then my guess would be video 1, Steve. Video 2, Thor. Video 3, Doom. Video 4, traditional theatrical trailer. I'm guessing that might be the pattern. What are you thinking?
Steve Rogers, Doom, wait for it, Wolverine.
No.
Yes.
I'll go 100% no on that.
I'm saying Wolverine because the X-Men. You're going to get an X-Men trailer, and that's going to be, you're going to see something, because look, you've given us a piece of information that Steve Rogers and Captain Carter have a kid. So there's got to be a revelatory moment in each of these trailers. Otherwise, why do them? Like you said, I don't know what the Doom, I have no idea what the Doom revelatory moment is going to be, but the X-Men revelatory moment is going to be Wolverine in some way, shape, or form. Because it's $1 billion, that movie made $1.5 billion. And you got to look, you got Doom is new, Steve Rogers is coming back. A third trailer has to have that oomph.
Yeah, but it wasn't
and Thor
Wolverine movie that made $1.5 billion. That was a Deadpool, because no other Wolverine film has ever come close to that.
No, but no other Deadpool movie came close to 1.5 billion either.
No, again, there was, and we talked for years about why that happened. And listen, I completely agree about, you know, how great it would be. I just think
they have to get people excited. And, you know, if we're going to see the Fox X-Men, we got Xavier, we've got Scott, we've got Nightcrawler, we've got Rebecca Romaine coming back. Wolverine began that franchise. How can you not have Wolverine in this movie?
There are many ways to not have Wolverine in the movie.
I'm just saying.
We'll see. But listen,
by the way, I have no insider knowledge or anything like that of this.
I theorized on an open mic the other day, like before this leak. My theory was that the 4 trailers would be one that focused on the Avengers team, one that focused on the new Avengers, Thunderbolts, one that focused on X-Men, and then one that was just kind of more and all of them would feature Doom. So obviously my theory goes out the window on that, but I did think that one of them would focus on X-Men characters. But if they're bringing back Steve, I just wonder if they're going full speed with that whole idea of mine of recenter everything first, then move on, because they didn't do a good job of moving on after Endgame. They just didn't. So they get a second chance at it now. So feature the big 3, Steve, Robert Downey Jr., not necessarily Tony Stark, and Chris Hemsworth's Thor.
Yeah.
But I mean, listen, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what though, I do not think you're right at all about the Wolverine one. But
It's okay. It's okay.
But if they did,
Wouldn't it be cool
it
if
would blow the roof off.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It would blow the. I don't think it's what
Yeah,
they're
that's
doing.
cooler
with
if
the other
they did.
X-Men?
It'll blow the roof off.
Okay, now I have one other question about this I want
Sure.
to ask you. At the end, I couldn't read when I was looking. I couldn't read over the Avengers.
I only saw the AI recreation of it.
Right. But I'm saying there was a time clock down there.
But it wasn't in the AI recreation.
Yes. No, and it says it's 19 weeks and like 29 days. That's over the end card.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, you had it up. So there's a countdown
Nope,
clock.
I see nothing.
Okay, in the
I
that.
just see
Yeah,
Steve
there it is.
Rogers will return in Doomsday.
it's there it is.
That's not in the version I have.
Yeah, well the one that I watched yesterday had a countdown clock and the soundtrack is going deet deet.
Okay.
Deet. It's counting
I
down.
heard that was there. I'm just saying it wasn't in the AI recreation I had seen.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I couldn't read it, but let's say this is correct. What's happening in 19 weeks and 29 days?
Disclosure
Which
day.
puts that into June.
Now I'm seeing people in the live chat saying the actual version said like 12 months.
Oh, it did.
And that the 19 weeks is fake. That's what people in the live chats are
Okay.
live chat are saying. Because if it was, let's see.
But if you're doing
If
an
it is
AI
19
trailer,
weeks, if it is 19 weeks,
yeah.
then that would all but confirm what we have talked about on the show as a theory, which is Doomsday is actually going to be 2 movies.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because 19 weeks is not December, folks. It's summer.
And it's not September where they're re-releasing Endgame.
No, it is June or July.
It's June. End of June.
Which is, by the way,
Middle of June.
roughly in the window of when Doomsday was originally supposed to come out anyway. So if this clock is real, and we're not saying it is,
Yeah.
if the 19 weeks countdown clock is real, well, that does a couple of things. It would explain why are you dropping any trailers right now, a year before the movie comes out. But it would also mean one really big thing. That we're getting 2 Doomsday movies, and the first one is in December. The first one's in the summer, and December is going to be the second one.
And we get a re-release of Endgame with a different post-credit scene in September.
Or an additional post-credit scene.
Or-
But it would also mean this, that within 18 months, take Endgame, the re-release of Endgame out of it. Within 18 months, we're going to have 3 Avengers movies.
Yeah.
We're going to have...
Just like the picture told us.
Just like I said.
We're going to have one in June. We're going to have one June or July, one in December, and one in the following December.
That's what I've been saying.
Well, again, I know we've talked about it here on the show. So if it is, now again, on this show, we cannot verify the veracity of any of that information.
Yeah,
But if we go into Avatar on Thursday, which I'm going to a 4 p.m. screening of Avatar on Thursday, and that is the trailer. Again, I still think that's an if, but if it is, and if that 19 weeks countdown clock plays, which again, we're not saying it will,
Yeah.
but if it does, yeah, that means we're getting Doomsday in summer and a Doomsday Part 2 in December, and then Avengers Secret Wars the following December.
because that's what I was thinking. Because they would just say, "Why would you have a countdown clock?" We all know the release date for Doomsday is
See,
what December
somebody's
18th.
asking, why would they release? And I understand this. Let me read this question here. See, if you can find the Michael F2 fan one,
Okay.
says, but they wouldn't release Endgame in September if Doomsday is out before. Do you see that?
I can't find it. I
Okay.
think so many came
Yeah.
through.
Oh,
So now okay, that is sound reasoning. Again,
Yes.
our user Michael is saying, but they wouldn't release Endgame in September if Doomsday is out before.
It's not what this picture
Sound
says.
reasoning, but let me proposition this. It does make sense if this post-credit scene that they're allegedly adding to the end of the new release of Endgame doesn't play into part 1 of Doomsday, but rather leads into something that's happening of part 2 of Doomsday that comes out in December. If that's the case, again, we are wildly speculating here, okay? Let's be very clear. We're just a bunch of movie fans sitting around speculating. It's for fun, okay? But again, if that's the case, if this post-credit scene is something that is directly meant to affect or set up something that's happening in the second Doomsday movie, then it would make sense to release it in September after Doomsday Part 1.
I would
theoretically.
I would posit if this is, let's just assume for a moment this is true. It's like if you watch the Star Wars movies, the original 6 in the machete cut order, where you watch if people
By the way,
get rid of,
never say the original 6. There was only the original 3.
Okay, you're right, the original 3. But if you watch the machete cut order, you go from Empire Strikes Back. Like machete cut is you watch Star Wars, the original Star Wars, Empire, then you jump back and you watch Attack of the Clones, and then Revenge of the Sith, and then watch Jedi. If you go in that route, Avengers Doomsday is going to come out, and there's going to, all this stuff is going to happen. And people are going to wonder, rather than waste time with prologues or how could this go on, Doomsday is going to give you all of these questions. You're going to ask yourself, wait a minute. Then they're going to come out and our friend, Colton's breakdown video. You don't have to go to the breakdown video. You can watch Endgame and go, oh, and then they kill you with that final scene, whatever it is, and then they release Doomsday Part 2, and then it all becomes clear. And I mean, how epic. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but I'd like to live in a world where they're doing something, because Marvel's done a lot of epic shit. But this would be not only epic for Marvel, this would be one of the most epic things ever done for a fantasy horror sci-fi franchise.
Let me throw out another curveball here, though. This is another thing that complicates it, though. Let's not forget that Marvel already has a major film coming out in the summer of 2026. Spider-Man Brand New Day. Is Marvel going to release a Spider-Man Brand New Day 3 weeks separated from a Avengers movie?
It'd be cool if they did.
I mean, it'd be
very cool. Hello, shareholders.
But would they? Would they do that? I don't know that they would. Not that close.
I got a question. So they moved this movie. What did they have? Like, did they have? Remember we talked about release dates, Marvel release dates that were vacated, and things. Did somebody was this going to be an untitled Disney movie that has a release date for something in June of 2026?
That's a good question.
I mean, because remember, this is Disney, and if that's true, there is coordination between these two films. And I would say, and look, I just want to live, I still am waiting for Thor to say, Ultron, we would have words with thee in Age of Ultron, which never happened. But I still wish it did. So I would like to believe that things are going to be that cool.
Actually, I mean, Spider-Man Brand New Day is July 31st domestically, and if this lands on the first week of July, that's 7 to 8 weeks.
That's 6-7 weeks separated
with this clock. Yeah,
but with that clock, that's 7 to 8
And again,
weeks.
I can't emphasize this enough. We are not saying that clock is legit. We're just speculating. Okay, if it were, again, guys, remember, this is not fucking Entertainment Tonight. This is a bunch of fucking
I don't know.
We're nerds. I'm wearing a Tombstone T-shirt. For God's sake,
I'm getting the feeling that Feige just flipped his desk watching this segment. So
damn it, they figured it out. Well, listen, guys, there's so much more to go into this, and we'll probably talk more about it a little bit tomorrow. But for now, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Do you believe in the legitimacy of this leaked trailer? I mean, there are a number of things suggesting that it is. And if it is, how did you feel about it? Do you think the clock is real? If it does, what is it? I mean, there's so much.
Because if that clock was on the thing that I saw, I just couldn't read all the numbers.
Right. So we'll find out. Anyway, guys, make sure you come back. We'll talk more about it tomorrow. Question is for you. Whatever you think about this whole thing, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.